Suppose I want to divide 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 7 divided by x. Only x.
X minus.
What are you going to do?
So only minus 3.
You will divide, see, in this case you're dividing by one term only, right? It's a very special case, very simple. You just divide everything by this term. That's what you have to do. All you have to do is to say, okay, it's 2x cubed divided by x, and then minus 3x squared divided by x. And remember, actually this minus can be written here, or you can write it here. And another way of writing this, you can just say, okay, this is minus and this is, I'm adding these two terms. Same thing, same thing. Or you can say, you have also this minus 7 over x. And again, you can write this as positive here and minus here if you want. So that's it. You divide each term by x. It's a very special case because you're dividing by monomial. Okay, and it's very simple in this case. 2x cubed over x is just, remember x cubed, what does x cubed mean? What does it mean? It means, remember, think of it this way. Think of this x times x divided by x. You just cancel this with this, isn't it? So it just becomes x squared, isn't it? So that's why the answer here will be equal to 2x squared. Because x squared remain, x times x. The same thing here. This will be minus 3x. X is times x divided by x. So 1 up, cancel the 1 down. And finally, minus 7 over x. There is nothing I can do. I just have to leave it like that. Right? So that's how we divide by single term, by monomial, one term. Yes?
From where we get the plus?
I just said it's another way of writing it. Because these terms are all added, right? So this added to this, added to this. Added means plus, plus, plus. Right? So one way I can do that is to make this all added terms. And initially I'm adding what? I'm adding minus 3x squared divided by x. And added minus 7x over x. Clear now? But what does it actually mean? That means I can just write this differently. I can write it, okay, why do I have to do this? I can just say, okay, this can be just minus. Instead of, this minus will come here. That's it. And this minus can come here. That's it. Just another way of writing it. That's just another way of writing it. This minus come here. That's why I see the final answer is minus. And this minus can come here. And that's why I see the final answer is. Subtracting positive is the same as adding negative. Remember that. Subtracting positive is the same as adding negative. Another words. If I'm adding minus 3, it's the same as subtracting plus 3, isn't it? Yes. That's what happened. That's what's happening. One time I'm writing it like that, one time I'm writing it like that. Okay? Same thing for fractions. If I'm adding, for example, negative 7 over 3, is the same as subtracting 7 over 3. Positive, of course. Same thing. There's no difference. Okay? At the end, I have a negative term. At the end, this whole term is negative, and this whole term is also negative. I don't care, how you look at it or how you write it. This term is negative. This term is also negative, because the term is including the sign anyway. Okay? So simple way to write this is just minus. Just simple way to write this is minus 3, and a simple way to write this will be minus 7 over 3. That's just a simple way to write it. Clear? Now, what's our question? Is not this. Our question is a long division. So let us see the long division. I have here 2x cubed. I have minus 3x squared. And then I have minus 7. But you notice here, x cubed, x squared. Where is x? You should have this in order. Power 3, reduce it by 1, become power 2, reduce it by 1, become power 1, x. Where is x? It's not there. You should leave a space for this. You cannot do that because usually you're going to make a mistake. You don't have to make a mistake, but usually people make a mistake. So that's why it's better to write it from the beginning, including this 2x cubed minus 3x squared, and then 0x. Or at least have a space. But it's better to write 0x, because 0x means nothing, right? You really have nothing. But we write it like that so you don't forget the place of the x when you divide. Okay? And that question also is a popular question. Anyway, that's what I have. I'm dividing now by what? By x minus 3. So how do we do this long division? First of all, we divide the first term by the first term. 2x cubed divided by x. So you get what? You get 2x squared. You get 2x squared. So that will be here 2x squared. Does it make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Understand how this come? 2x cubed divided by x equal to 2x squared. Is that clear? Anyone have a question about that? Okay. And then you take this multiplied by both. It came from where? It came from dividing the first by the first. But after I get it, I multiplied by both. So let's multiply by both. 2x squared times x, of course, I know what will happen. It will be 2x cubed. But when you multiply it by the second, you get minus 6x squared. Minus 6x squared. So you write them like that. Okay? Next is to get the difference. Subtract this minus this, and subtract this minus this. Like we did before with integers, with numbers. So usually, of course, always, in this case, you're going to have this minus this is always going to be 0. Always going to have here 0. But the question now is minus 3 minus minus 6 equal what? Equal minus 3 plus 6. Right? Which is plus 6. Which is plus 6. Plus 3, sorry. Right? Minus 3 plus 6. Why plus 6? Because minus minus is plus. You're subtracting negative 6. When you subtract negative 6, it means you're adding positive 6. So you're adding positive 6 to the minus 3. It means plus 3, of course, x squared. We only add the coefficients. This is the first step, and we only repeat this step a number of times, 2 times, 3 times, until the problem finishes. So one more time. The idea is to divide the first term by the first term. You write the answer here. You take this answer, you multiply it by both terms now. When you multiply by both terms, you get these two terms. Once you get these two terms, you write them under the first two terms, and then you subtract. You get the difference here, and you get the difference here, and you write it. Okay? So you divide the first by the first. The answer should be multiplied by both. You write them here, and you get the difference. This is the first stage. You repeat this again and again and again until the problem finishes. So to repeat this for the second time, I'm going to put this 0x down here. Plus 0x. Because you should have initially two terms like the beginning. Okay? Now these two terms will be again divided by here. So the first should be divided by the first, like what we did before. So you get plus 3x. And then you take the 3x, again multiplied by both, just like what we did here. Exactly like what we did before. We're repeating exactly what we did before. So you multiply this by these two. So you get what? You get 3x squared, and you get also minus 9x. Okay? And then you should subtract. Okay? You should subtract. So when you subtract this, what would be the answer? This is always going to be 0. And 0 minus 9, remember we're subtracting. So remember 0 minus 9, that's area of mistakes. A lot of people make mistake here. 0 minus means, minus means plus. So 0 plus 9. So 0 plus 9 is what? Plus 9x. So we have plus 9x here. Okay? And I finished the second step, the same thing. I'm repeating for the third time. I'm repeating everything for the third time. So before I repeat, I'm going to put this down here, minus 7. And then I divide again this binomial by this binomial. Simply by taking the first one, dividing it by the first one. Again, repeating this for the third time. 9x divided by x equal? 9. Just 9. So I have to add here 9. Okay? And this 9 here, once I add it, I should multiply it by both terms. So multiply this 9 by both terms. What do you get?
9x minus 27.
Yeah, you get 9x minus 27. And then again, you should subtract this, right? So subtract this. Okay. 9x as usual minus 9x will be 0. However, minus 7, minus again is plus 27. So you have plus 27 and minus 7, which give you plus 20. Okay? If you look at the question now as a whole, there is nothing remain really to come down. Everything is finished. I mean, the last thing came down was minus 7. There is no other numbers to come down. I finished the problem. So the problem finished. I divided in 3 stages, exactly the same. Okay? So this part is called the quotient, and this part is called the remainder. This part is called the quotient, and this part is called the remainder. The remainder. Okay?
The 0, you can put it anywhere or there's suitable place?
When I put the 0, I put it here because it's order. X cubed, x squared, I should have x, and then I should have number. This is the proper order, so I have to put it here. This is the right...
There's an order.
Yeah. If x squared is missing, then I put 0x squared here. Suppose the problem has already x, and it doesn't have x squared. Then you have to put 0x squared here. You have to put it in the order. You have to put this in order before you divide. You have to put this polynomial in order before you divide. Okay? Any question about that? How do you write the final answer? The final answer, if you want to write it with the quotient and remainder, you basically write the quotient first. So the answer here is what of the division? Is 2x squared plus 3x plus 9. And how do I write the remainder? You still write the remainder, but it should be still divided, the 20 divided by x minus 3. That means what? It means still I have a fraction. I couldn't divide the 20 by x minus 3. It means this part remain still divided by x minus 3. I couldn't make it. I just leave it here. But this part is the result of the division. So the quotient is written here, and the remainder is written above the x minus 3. Okay? That's how you write the final answer in this case.